Hey, what's up guys? Going to do another knife review. This is a knife that I showed you before, but have not done a full review yet. This is the Bradley Cutlery Alias 2. Now the Alias 2 is a smaller version. This has a 2.95 inch blade. The first Alias that came out, the larger version has a 3.6 inch blade. Okay, so this is the smaller of the two. And a quick note as well is that this one here has the blue anodized titanium handle scales, whereas the more common Bradley Alias models have just a flat gray. Okay, but this is a bluish anodized handle, so it's a little bit harder to find. As far as retail prices, it's only $5 more to have the blue one, but there weren't as many made. But anyway, what I have in the background here is my Chris Reeves small classic Sebenza with the micarta inlays. And the reason I have this knife out is because a lot of times the Bradley Alias models are known in the knife community as the poor man's Sebenza. Basically, when the height of the Sebenza craze, I should say, came out, or when the Bradleys came out, a lot of people said, you know, the Alias models are very comparable to the Sebenza. Very similar in a lot of ways. Basically, you have two very simplistic frame lock designed folders. Both have titanium handles. They both have S30V stainless steel blades. They're both very comparable in size. You can see these are both the small versions, and they're almost identical in size. And of course, the large versions are very close as well. Single-sided thumb studs. You can see these are not ambidextrous. They're only right-hand opening. Frame locks with pocket clips, and they're both flow-through design. Basically, have these standoffs or pillars that separate the handles. So they are very comparable, except for price, and I think, in my opinion, overall quality. Even though that I believe that the Bradley Alias is a very, very good knife in a lot of different ways, I still think it can't match the Sebenza. And maybe towards the end of the video I'll do just a quick side-by-side comparison to show you what things I believe that Sebenza has over this knife. Okay, and that's really what I think you're paying for. That's why you pay a premium on those Sebenzas. But anyway, the review is on this knife, so I'll be talking about this one the most of the time. So like I said, this is the Bradley Cutlery Alias 2. It is a smaller version. The blade is 2.95 inches long. It's a modified spear point blade. A very handsome looking style here. I really like spear point blades in general. It gives you enough belly here for slicing, but it does still give you an acute tip, and gives a good penetration because of that swedge on the back. Let's bring this closer so you can see that. Let's let that focus in a second. There we go. This does have a stonewash finish, okay, which I showed in the previous video. You can see on the back here, made in USA. Of course, over there, blade marked S30V stainless. The open length here is 6.8 inches overall. You can see it in my hands. I have medium to large size hands. The closed position is 3.87 inches, so just a little bit under 4 inches long. And the total weight on this is 3 ounces even. Now the factory weight says 3 ounces. I put it on my scale and it came out 3.01. So, you know, basically the same thing, but I just wanted to mention that. So it's kind of a medium weight knife. It's not a super light knife, but it's not a really heavy knife either. There's not a whole lot to it. Titanium is somewhat light. I mean, lighter than stainless, just as strong, if not stronger. Again, flow-through design. There's no backspacer or no liners to deal with. It's a very simple design. 2 handle scales and a blade, okay, and a pocket clip. You can flick this knife out very easily, as you can see. Comes out nice, actually lightning fast, and there's a reason for that. This knife has a detent so that when the blade, let me get close here, let this focus for a second. When the blade's being closed, when you get to a certain point, you're going to see the blade come off my finger and kind of be sucked into the handle almost, right there. You see how it kind of sucks in? That's because the detent on the inside, and maybe I can get a shot of this, I'm not sure, with the macro here. I gotta let this focus. You see right above the handle right there, that tiny little silver ball? That's basically, it's a ball bearing, and it's half in the handle and half sticking up. And there's a tiny little hole in the blade, okay? So as you're closing this, when they match up, they kind of Imagine, this being the ball bearing and this being the hole. So it's sliding across, and when it matches up, it kind of just sits in place. Okay, so it doesn't move very easily. The reason they have that is so that the blade doesn't fall out in your pocket. If you have a really cheap, like $5 knife, you'll find the blade just wobbles and wiggles all around. But this actually, it just kind of sets in place for you so that when you're handling the knife, it's not going to come out on you. It's not going to open up in your pocket. It's a feature that a lot of high quality knives have, as well as even medium or decent knives that have. And you do see it sometimes in some cheap knives, but I just wanted to talk about that a little bit because it plays a big role in here. This specific knife has a deeper detent and ball bearing than some other knives, and so it's stiff in there. In other words, it's kind of hard to push out. And with this design of thumb stud, which I want to show you, you can see it's kind of a pyramid shape. Let me let that focus. There you go. It's almost pointed. Okay, and because of that design and because of the fact that you have a deeper detent, I cannot open this comfortably slowly. In other words, if I just want to push this out a little bit with my thumb, they don't give you enough room in between the handle. Even though there's this nice sweep in the handle here, it's aesthetically pleasing, it looks nice, and it would seem it's functional, but there's not enough gap here to comfortably open this slowly. I have to kind of use the tip of my finger there, if you saw that, to open it slowly. Okay? And it's just, I mean, you could see, let me let this focus, there we go. You could see the detent in my skin just from trying to push on this and opening it slowly. It actually just, it left a dent in my thumb. Alright, so it's not comfortable to open it that way. However, if you give it just a quick little flick, okay, as I showed in my other video, just kind of pushing out and up at the same time, pops right open. Okay, lightning fast. So I like how it is, it's not going to open up in my pocket. And if I need to open it fast, I can. That's not an issue. However, sometimes in public, I don't want to make a big loud noise, make a big show about having a knife. If you're in, say, a grocery store and it's somewhat quiet, and you got that lame music playing in the background, and all of a sudden you're, in an aisle looking at soup, and you have to cut a string off your shirt or something, that snap, people tend to look, and they go, oh man, that guy's got a knife. What's he going to do? And then, of course, I cut the loose string off my shirt, and it's kind of anticlimactic. But, you know what I'm saying. You don't always want to draw attention to you. So it's nice to have the option to open it slowly. Let's go back to the Sebenza here. Sebenza opens nice and slowly. I'm going to be nice and quiet so you can hear this. Hardly any noise at all. Buttery smooth. But anyway, that's a whole separate thing. So that is a downside to this knife. Something I do not like about this knife, I cannot comfortably open this slowly. Okay? I just can't do it. So, huge downside. However, it's very, very high quality knife. The materials are superb. The S30V stainless has always been a favorite of mine. Came super sharp. However, I'm the second owner of this. I got this in a trade a while ago. I cannot speak for this knife being sharp out of the box because I did not get it new out of the box. However, the person who owned it before me either took care of it, didn't use it much, or knows how to sharpen a knife because it did come nice and sharp. And if I could show you this, let's do a little nail test. You can see the enamel of my nail. I'm coming close here. Let it focus. Come on. There we go. Okay. So you could very easily shave the enamel on your fingernails. It's nice and sharp. So, anyway. So yeah, thumb stud issues for sure. Overall, it fits my hand pretty good. I do have a little bit of wasted area here where I think the larger version might be a little bit better, but I have no problem using smaller knives. I basically just grip with the first 3 fingers. The pinky's just kind of hanging around. The jimping on the back is somewhat functional, not super grippy. It grips the pad of your thumb a little bit, but it's not like, it's not like sandpaper or anything. You do slide off a little bit, but not really an issue with me at all. Frame lock, as I said, very easy to use, very strong. Your grip basically strengthens the lock itself. I mean, let's let this focus for a second. Sorry about that. I'm in macro mode, so I get those up-close shots. But anyway, what I was saying is the frame lock is nice and strong. It's not going to close on you. There's a rare chance you're going to hit the spine of the blade anyway, but even if you do, your grip further closes that lock, so it keeps it from unlocking and folding on you. Alright, the pocket clip here carries nice and high in the pocket. No issues with the clip whatsoever. Because of this kind of a pointed or arrow shaped tip, it's very easy to slip into the pocket and out of the pocket. It grips enough where it's not going to fall out if you're active and running around and stuff. So I do like that quite a bit. Very simple construction here. Basically you have two body screws here, okay, construction screws, which are both Torx screws. Okay, as you can see there. Now as I go to the pivot, you'll see that the pivot screw does take a larger bit for it. Unlike the Sebenza, and this is where I'm going to do kind of a side-by-side comparison, the Sebenza has 3 screws as well. Only difference is that all 3 are exactly the same. Okay, so that you can use the same Allen key to take off, all 3 screws and take apart the knife. With this knife here, you need 2 separate bits, okay, to completely disassemble it. Another side-by-side thing, like I said, just the smoothness of the knife. Can't open this slowly at all. I mean, it just hurts my thumb really bad. Can flick it open, but that's my only option. Alright, with the Sebenza, it's just buttery smooth. I can't explain it. You really have to get one in your hand to appreciate it. Also, attention to detail, just like the rounded spine here compared to just the flat, cut off spine, which is kind of average. Thumb stud, even though this is even more pointed than the other one, for some reason it's not as uncomfortable. It's perfectly fine. I don't find it to be a problem at all. You know why? Because of the larger gap here. That makes a huge difference. If I can get my finger behind it, it's not really an issue at all. Lockup on this is absolutely perfect. Okay, but I can't complain about this one either. They're both very good. Give you a side by side there. Quality is, materials are about the same. It's literally the same materials. You got titanium handles. You have S30V stainless steel blade. The only difference is I believe these are stainless barrel standoffs on the Sebenza as opposed to the aluminum ones on the Alias, but that's no big deal. But just overall quality, I still really prefer the Sebenza over the Alias. However, I can tell you from personal experience that I don't hesitate as much cutting, harder or dirtier things with this knife. This one I do tend to baby. Even though it's a workhorse, I treat it like it's a piece of artwork, and when I actually carry this knife, I do carry other knives with me as well. So if I have to cut something dirty, or if I chance chipping a blade or scratching a blade up really bad, I tend not to use this because I want to keep it in somewhat of a pristine condition. So that's one downside of having a very expensive knife, is that you treat it like a baby and you don't want to actually use it very much. This, even though this is not a cheap knife, I have no problem using it and using it hard. And I've EDC'd it for a while now. I've had very good experience with it, no issues whatsoever. You can see there the thumb again, slip right off. But it's a fantastic knife. There's really nothing wrong with it at all. Not as good as that, but you know what? Nowhere near the price. In fact, it's a little less than half the price. So you can get 2 of these before you get a Sebenza, but there really is nothing like a Sebenza. Quick note too, you can see the larger lanyard hole here, which I do like. If you happen to like lanyards, you have no problem getting some 550 cord through there, as well as some other options as well for lanyards. But awesome knife. I really do like it. Hope you guys appreciated the review and enjoyed it. I had fun making it. 2 awesome knives, even though I just reviewed this one. I have plenty of videos on the Sebenza. I don't need to talk about it anymore. However, hopefully down the road in the future, if I can afford it, I want to get a big brother to the little classic here. I want to get maybe Sebenza 21, the large, something simple, nothing extravagant. But anyway, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. Thanks for your time, and thanks for watching. Have a good day.